Aboro Aboye, I welcome you guys to this episode of Isese Talk, Season 4, Episode 2. So in this episode, we'll still be talking about the previous topic, but that's for the episode 1. But I felt like the last episode, I didn't, explain in a way that a novice would actually understand the context at which I'm, developing that argument from in the previous episode. So they might not have a clearer view. It is only somebody that has been in Isese for a very long time that would understand. So I put it upon myself to, come and do another sort of, explanation in this episode so that they can get a clearer picture. So in the previous episode, after I read the article, I was talking about a question that I was being asked. Somebody asked me that, Ategbe, on my Instagram page, the person asked me that, Ategbe, what does the 16 primordial Odu stand for? Each of them, what does each of them stand for? So before we go into that, what are the 16 primordial Odu? The Odu, can be referred to as the chapters of which Ifa was being documented into, because Ifa is the documentation. From my own point of view, I'll tell you that Ifa is the documentation of the past, present, and the future. So now, this documentation is in each of the Odu. So, technically, Ifa has 16 primordial Odu. And this 16 primordial Odu, the combination of this 16 primordial Odu is what is going to give you 256, which is the actual Odu that Ifa has. But you see that 16 are the major one. The combination of them is what gives you the 256. So the 16 primordial Odu are the Ijogbe, Oyeku meji, Iwori meji, Odi meji, Iroso meji, Onworin meji, Obara meji, Ọ̀kànràn méjì, Ògúndá méjì, Ọ̀sà méjì, Ìká méjì, Òtúrúpọ̀n méjì, Òtúrá méjì, Ìrẹtẹ̀ méjì, Ọ̀ṣẹ́ méjì, Òfún méjì, Èpà Odu. So those are the 16 primordial Odu. So now, this 16, the combination of them is what gives us 256. So they pick it from Ijogbe. I said Ijogbe is the first one. They now say Ogbe Oyeku, which is the second one. Ogbe Iwori, which is the third one. Ogbe Di, you understand? Ogbe Erosun, Ogbe Onworin, Ogbe Obara, Ogbe Ọ̀kànràn. You see? Ogbe Ògúndá, Ogbe Sa. You see? Ogbe Ìká, Ogbe Ìtúrúpọ̀n, Ogbe Ìtúrá, Ogbe Ìrẹtẹ̀. You see? Ogbe Se, Ogbe Fún. So from Ogbe it goes to the next one. Oyeku Ogbe. You see, from Oyeku meji it goes to Oyeku Ogbe, Oyeku Wori. You see, Oyeku Odi. Like before you get 256. So now, this person asked me that what does that 16 primordial Odu stand for? And it's as a result of a trend. Because the person is asking me because there are a lot of Babalawo, not in the diaspora, because the trend started from Yoruba land. They want to prove a point. They want to prove a point, and they want to, present Isese in a way that it has the structure of the Western spirituality, which is impossible because Isese it can't be associated with the Western spirituality structure. It has its own framework. It has its own structure. You see? So these people start saying, oh, the 16 Odu Ijogbe stand for fire. It's just an example. Oyeku meji stand for the waters. This superficial explanation that does not have any ancestral facts to back it up. So it is as a result of this thing that made that person ask me. Yeah, that person has encountered such, and he wants to get my own my own opinion too. So maybe I'll tell him that no, Ijogbe stand for purity. You see, Ijogbe stand for winning. So So this was the angle. So this was the angle, and so I was now, trying to make them understand that the Odu itself cannot be, boxed into a. You can't box it. You can't box it in a way that you say it represents one thing. It is impossible. I mean, one Odu, just one Odu. Now we are not even talking about the 16. Each of the 16, one of it has over 5,000 verses from what we inherit from our ancestor. Over 5,000 verses. And one person comes out and tells you that Odu stands for one thing. It's impossible. It's impossible. That statement itself is reducing its essence. And we need to understand now, people in the diaspora, you really need to understand that just because somebody tells you that they are from a lineage of one Orisha, they are from a lineage of one Babalawo, they are from this lineage, and they show you the lineage, it doesn't mean that the person has the mental capabilities to analyze things to you. Because Isese has two sides. Let's say Orisha worship has two sides. It has the spiritual side and the philosophical side. If you are looking for explanation, it is from the philosophical side you get that explanation from. If you are looking to do ritual, that is where it's from the spiritual side. Like, you want to feed issue, you want to do a ball, you want to do consultation. Even the consultation itself has two sides. It is when they want to do the ritual that it is spiritual. But when they try to break down the message and apply it to your life, it is more of a philosophical thing. It is the process of the consultation that is spiritual. But after the consultation and everything has been reviewed, to apply it in your life is more of a philosophical thing. It has nothing to do with spiritual. So if the people that claim to be from one clan or one I'm using clan because I think I posted something on Instagram, I won't digress, I'll go back. I posted something on Instagram and a Brazilian, it's on my Instagram page, a Brazilian, maybe the person is from Candomblé, the person was not comfortable with what I said and he was like, let the clans come and confirm what I'm saying. I'm like, who are the clans? We are the clans. It is my birthright. Everything a clan is telling you that, okay, my forefather, it is my birthright. It is my birthright. Fine. A lot of us, we're not born into it as a result of the invasion of the Western invaders and crusaders. But every Yoruba man is like, they are entitled to Isese. They are entitled to the Orisha. It is our birthright because we were all born into it. But if we start going into the details of what I'm saying, it might get messy. So this idea of people in the diaspora saying that the authentic Isese is from the people that are from the clan, that is what makes you fall victim. That's what makes you fall victim of misinformation, victim of fraud, victim of misguidance, victim of neglect. Because a lot of them just do the initiation for you and neglect you. Because after the initiation, there's no way for them to make money. Or maybe they should just tell you to do another initiation. So going back to the point I was trying to make, there's a spiritual side and the philosophical side. So explanation of these things needs the philosophical aspect. Fine. But some people that don't know how to properly deal with philosophy will generalize. Philosophy is an individual thing. The way I interpret the philosophy of a verse is different from the way another person would interpret it. And this is not just a notion from me. This is the foundation that Isese sits on. This is the foundation that being a priest is individuality. Yoruba priest, if average Yoruba priest that learned Ifa is guided by these things that I'm going to mention. Their intuition, That is the personal, like their ori, their eleda that brought them to Ile-Aye, their unique ori, the first thing. The second thing is their ancestral lineage. Where do they come from? Are they from Oyo? Are they from Abeokuta? Are they from Ibadan? Even in Abeokuta, there's still Ijebu. Are they from Ijebu or from Egba? These are two regions in the same state, Ogun State, Abeokuta and Ijebu, and they have two different lineage. In the way they do things are quite different. Same as Oyo, there's Ibadan, there's Oshogbo, there's Ife. You see, the lineage, the ancestral lineage, the apprenticeship. The apprenticeship is very, very important. Take for example, a Babalawo that has an ancestral lineage of maybe the person is from Ijebu or from Egba, and the person now went to do apprenticeship to learn Ifa in Ife. After he learned his Ifa, finished in Ife, and he has graduated from the master, he now comes back to Ijebu to start working within the Ijebu ecosystem. There will be like some mixture of culture there. You see? So don't let me go deep into it. So the apprenticeship, the geographical environment, like their geographical environment where they grew up, that the part of Ijebu where they grew up, cultures can vary. If you come from Ijebu, you see the geographical settings, you see, and their own personal life experience. This thing are the things that determines the doctrines that comes out of the mouth of a priest. But a lot of them understand what I'm saying, that these doctrines are not something to be generalized and forced down the throat of people, because it is what works for their own temple personally. But it doesn't mean that it should now be generalized and projected as if that is the way things were done. No, it was never that way. It was never that way. So it is because of the structure of Isese that gives space for this individuality. This is why most people from the diaspora, they confuse themselves, because you received an information from one, and it's even a trend in Brazil. There are some people in Brazil that feel like anything that comes from Oyo must be forced down every region of Yoruba, and maybe these people, they only went to Oyo. And the Yoruba region is very, very large, and they are unique to themselves. Just because Oyo does this way, Oyo is not the origin of Shango. They do Shango in Ekiti. They do Shango, and they have a different way as to how they worship Shango. You understand? But the people in the diaspora, they try to see Isese from this Western structural lens that make them feel like, okay, there's this structure and this is how it must be, and that structure for some people is Oyo, and that structure for some people is Ife, and that structure for some people is Abeokuta. But your lack of understanding of Yoruba culture is making you misbehave, because even a Yoruba person that comes from Oyo that has this doctrine in Oyo that, okay, this is how we do things, when they go to Ife, they will do things the way it is done in Ife and not argue with them in Ife. This is Yoruba culture. We respect ourselves. And there's a Yoruba proverb we use to qualify this. So a lot of people in the diaspora, you do Yoruba spirituality, but you don't understand Yoruba culture. And the culture itself is carved out of the spirituality from the documentation of Ifa. An Ibadan person, okay, when they do Itefa in Ibadan, there's a way they do it that I know. Me and a Babalawo friend of mine, we went to another place that is in Iwo. They had a very different way of doing Itefa there, and I got there and I was like, wow, this is different. And I was talking to the guy, I was just trying to raise a conversation, and he was like, no, we can't have that conversation here, so that they wouldn't feel like we are disrespecting them. This is how they do it, and this is how it works for them. And we did the ritual with them. We were there, and when we finished, it was Itefa, and we left. But this would never be the case of people from the diaspora. They start arguing, because they don't understand Isese deeply. They don't know, or I wouldn't say they don't understand it. Maybe the person that is their priest or priestess is treating them like a slave. Yeah, this is what most of them do in Yoruba land, and I'm saying it. I really do not. I'm not using it to abuse anybody, or I'm just using it to explain. Because the relationship you have with your priest or priestess is a slave to master relationship. So now they try to enslave your thinking, making you think that whatever it is they tell you, it is how it is done and how it should be done. Whatever any other person says is wrong. And it's their own technique of, retaining their client. And it is really causing a lot of problem. It's really causing a lot of problem. And if it is not said now, it will cause a lot of confusion for the next generation. So this, and I think this is the whole foundation that issue of saying that what each of the 16 Odu, represents. Because one person told you that this is what it represents, it doesn't mean that the meaning can be general, of which there is no ancestral facts that guides that notion of saying that an Odu represents something. It's impossible. It's impossible. An Odu has over 5,000 verses. You are telling me that something that embodies over 5,000 verses represents one thing. If it's going to represent one thing, then it represents the fact that it is an Odu that embodies a verses that are diverse in nature, diverse in stories. In fact, even one verse from inside one Odu can mean many things, depending on the person interpreting it, depending on the situation it has been interpreted for. So this is why I tell people, try and find good teachers, Yoruba people that can elevate your understanding. Stop looking for people from one clan, from one deeply rooted clan. Those people are just money driven. There are a lot of people that are ready to teach you, enlighten you. But the problem with the people in the diaspora is that you don't like honesty. Only few of you like honesty. You like us to tell you what you want to hear, because majority of you have this problem of wanting to fit Ifa into whatever, Isese into whatever it is that you are bringing. Maybe it is your mindset, maybe it is your religious structure from where you are coming from that you can't let go of before coming to Isese, or whatever. You just want to fit it into it, and it doesn't work that way. It will not end well. It would not. It can never end well. It is impossible for it to end well. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I am going to come out here to say my own truth. If you want to follow it, fine. If you don't want to follow it, fine. But I know that there are people that whatever I say now is important to them, and they will use it as their own navigator as they walk their path within the Isese community. And guys, buy my Ilana Isin course. The things they are really, really important. These are informations that are, that is needed by an average worshipper of Orisha. You need to understand these basics. Just because I'm not selling one ritual, all those things, you don't need it. You need the basics so that you can have a deeper understanding of because majority of people in the diaspora, the type of knowledge they have towards Isese is opening them to be a victim of fraud. Honestly speaking. So, in order for you to shield yourself from being a fraud, in order for you to shield yourself from being a victim of fraud, buy my Ilana Isin course and read and understand it. And if you like it and enjoy it, reach out to me so I can take you to the level 2. See, these are things that are, that are really important. I hope I've covered every aspect of, of it, and I've explained it in a basic way. So if there's anything more that you need, I think if you go back to the first episode and, listen to that part 2 and mix it with this one, you would you get a clear picture of what I was trying to explain. So thank you very much, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Ireu.